Greetings, clanmates. Ripplewish here. I'm here to give my honest opinion but still respect yours. And today on the Jellybean Jar, we are going to be discussing my MapleShine AU. Now, I'm definitely not a fan of Mapleshade. I know a lot of people like her, but I don't. She was extraordinarily selfish and manipulative, even before the deaths of her kits. I think she's just a bad, entitled cat, but I'm also definitely not a fan of her novella. I think almost every cat in the book was in the wrong. The entire book was one cruelty after the next. Not one cat in any clan acted like a true warrior. They threw a nursing mother and her tiny kits out of the clan, which ultimately led to the kits' deaths. Instead of showing sympathy to a mother whose entire world was just destroyed, they show such despicable cruelty. I don't blame Mapleshade at all for losing her mind. Well, especially considering her already entitled personality. I don't blame her for killing the cats she deemed responsible. Because of them, her babies died. Because of them, she was thrown aside like trash with no regard to her entire life being a loyal warrior. Alibi slightly insufferable. The code says to protect all kits, which they don't. The code says to be honorable warriors, which they weren't. And oh, how I loathed that! Of course I don't support Mapleshade's actions at all, but I get it, and I don't like it. I think there was a lot of potential for a redemption arc for her, and for her story. Even from the beginning we can see there's seemingly nobody in the clan who Mapleshade is close to. Kin, friends, etc. She's a bit of a loner in her own clan, so there's nobody to correct her selfish, entitled attitude. I think she could have been much better if she had some sort of guidance. Now, Reedshine was another character that never got overly touched upon, and it was disappointing because she seemed like a sweet and loyal cat, on some level. She chose Appledusk despite finding out he cheated. Even if we didn't see it, I think Mapleshade's kit's deaths and Appledusk's betrayal really hit her hard. I think she may have even felt pity for Mapleshade on some level. And Appledusk? Well, Appledusk has always been trash. I don't care what anyone says on that matter. He was more worried about his status in the clan than anything else. What a waste of a good design and name. So anyways, taking all that into account, I came up with an interesting AU that really would have redeemed and put a lot more thought and growth into both Mapleshade and Reedshine's characters. So everything generally happens as it did in the novella up until the point where Mapleshade is trying to cross the river with her kits. This is where my AU begins. So basically Mapleshade is still trying to flee ThunderClan and desperately takes her kits across the river, like an idiot. But the RiverClan patrol is faster this time, and as the kits are washed away, RiverClan cats suddenly spring into the racing current. Reedshine is among them this time. However, tragedy still ensues. Petal Kit and Large Kit perish to the cruel river, but Reedshine pulls out Patch Kit, who is cold and terrified, but survives. Mapleshade rushes over and is grateful to Reedshine pulling a wailing Patch Kit close to her as she stares in numb horror at her other kits. RiverClan escorts the shocked and grieving mother and her young kit to the RiverClan camp. Reedshine stayed near Mapleshade in case she needed help carrying Patch Kit. She can see the hollow pain in the Queen's eyes. When they get into camp, Reedshine joins her clanmates, standing close to Appledusk's side as he begins to explain everything. When he reveals that Mapleshade was his mate and the kits were his, Reedshine feels her stomach drop and stares blankly ahead in complete shock. He moves close, pressing against her and apologizing, but she does not respond at all, just numbly stares. When Darkstar questions how they can trust him again, there is silence. Reedshine does not speak up for him. Instead, he says he promises never to do anything like this again. It was a mistake, and he will work hard every day to prove his loyalty. Reedshine feels an anger beginning to stir within her, but she says nothing still. Mapleshade asks that she and Patch Kit can please stay in the clan. Darkstar says she cannot, but the kit can stay and be given to another queen. Mapleshade wails that they can't take her last baby away from her, and Appledusk gets in her face, snarling that it's her fault the others are dead. She's a terrible mother, and Patch Kit will surely die with her. She's shocked and pained at his words, but refuses to budge. She thinks with a kit, especially that kit belonging to Appledusk too, she's automatically entitled to stay in RiverClan. Darkstar tells him to back off, saying it's Mapleshade's choice where the kit goes, and it's not Appledusk's problem. But Darkstar still will not allow her to stay in the clan. The loss of her kits was a harsh enough punishment, but she must go. The two kits would be buried on RiverClan land. Mapleshade's upset as the warriors start moving forward to take her kits and drive her out. She's frantic and wailing. And finally, in Reedshine, something snaps. She harshly shoves Appledusk away from her with enough force to knock him to the ground. As every cat freezes, she begins to rant furiously. "You are the most pathetic excuse for a cat I have ever met. How dare you blame this poor she-cat for your two-timing rubbish? She just lost her clan and her babies because of you, and you have the nerve to act so terrible towards her? You're a cruel cat, Appledusk. Not the cat I fell in love with. Learn to take some responsibility, you overgrown kit. And you." Reedshine turns abruptly to Darkstar, fury in her gaze. "You call yourself a leader? A warrior? This is a nursing queen, broken and alone with nowhere to go, and a very young kit to care for. You'd basically condemn this kit to death. And don't even start on blathering about the kit staying. You can't tear a kit away from its mother, especially when she just lost her other kits. You need to let them both stay." Yeah, sorry for the impromptu improv. This was just such an important moment I had to write out what she says. So yeah, the whole clan is shocked. But Darkstar stammers that she can't stay. She's not a RiverClan warrior and never would be. There must be some consequences for her actions. She must leave with or without the kit. Reedshine becomes all the more angry and declares that she is leaving with Mapleshade then. This is not the RiverClan she grew up in, and she will not surround herself with a bunch of foxhearts. Appledusk tries to stop her, but she whirls on him and claws his face, leaving deep gashes down his cheek. She tells him to never ever speak to her again. He is the worst of them, and she hopes the clan will never forgive him for his disloyalty and cruelty. With that, she leaves with a very shocked Mapleshade, whom is carrying Patch Kit. The two travel in silence for a long time, with Reedshine determinedly muttering about where they must go and that they must find shelter and pray. Mapleshade just follows behind numbly. She wants to be angry at this cat. This is the cat who stole Appledusk away from her, but she can't. Reedshine saved Patch Kit's life and stood up for her when nobody else would. Literally just gave everything up for her. It's somewhat humbling to Mapleshade. As Mapleshade is thinking, Patch Kit begins to whimper and whine that he's cold. He's shivering and still wet. Reedshine attentively takes notice and looks around, quickly finding shelter in some thick ferns. She instructs Mapleshade to set him down and lick his fur roughly the wrong way. It will dry him quickly. Mapleshade mutely does as she's told while Reedshine goes to find them some prey. She returns with a couple fat mice, and Mapleshade comments that she thought RiverClan cats could only fish. Reedshine laughs and tells her RiverClan cats know how to hunt land prey too. Even the fish are never guaranteed. The two eat for a bit, then continue traveling until they come to a barn. They soon learn a friendly kitty pet named Myler lives there, and he happily invites them to stay and offers to hunt for them. Reedshine begins to decline, but he says nonsense. Mapleshade is nursing and Reedshine is pregnant. The queen's shocked and asks how he knew, and he states he's been a midwife many times. Neither she-cat know what that means, but they lay down in the hay and Patch Kit begins to nurse. Mapleshade is shocked that Reedshine is pregnant, but begins making light conversation. Ultimately, the two stay in the barn for about a moon, and though it's initially awkward and Mapleshade's a tad begrudging at times, they become friends. Of course, Mapleshade's still entitled and manipulative, but Reedshine recognizes it easily and won't take it, instead chastising Mapleshade for her behavior. She says that the world doesn't owe her anything. Every cat needs to work for what they have, and the longer they stay, the more Mapleshade begins to realize it's true. She took her position in her clan for granted. She took her kits for granted. Her relationship with Appledusk. She begins to feel incredibly depressed, but Reedshine helps her through it. I think a strong-willed but kind cat is exactly what Mapleshade needed in her life to set her on a path to redemption. And being a better cat, Mapleshade sees this cat in a new light, and a new respect begins to form. Eventually, they begin to develop feelings for one another. I think Reedshine would really help Mapleshade become a better cat. A good and kind cat. Anywho, when Reedshine is heavily pregnant, she declares she wants her kits to be born in a clan and raised as warriors. Mapleshade is upset at first, thinking Reedshine needs to leave her and return to RiverClan, but Reedshine corrects her, stating that they would try one of the other two clans. ShadowClan seems most likely, as it has forest that Mapleshade would be comfortable in, and swampland that Reedshine may like. Mapleshade says they should lie, but Reedshine brushes off the notion, saying that RiverClan and ThunderClan would just tell ShadowClan, and then they'd be in trouble for lying. It was best to just be completely honest. Mapleshade anxiously agrees. So the two have a bittersweet farewell with Myler and travel there. The leader, Houndstar, at the time is kind and is appreciative of the two cats' honesty. He also will not condemn queens and kits to a cruel exile. He even states that the behavior of the other two clans was despicable. And that's coming from a ShadowClan cat, Houndstar jokes. So ShadowClan gladly accepts them. They're a bit low on warriors and very few kits were born that year, so 2 fully trained warriors and a gaggle of kits seems like a true blessing. Reedshine and Mapleshade get to the nursery to themselves. They're very grateful and happy to be able to be warriors again. They eventually admit they have feelings for one another and become mates. The 2 co-parent Patch Kit. Mapleshade finds herself doing things for others more and more often. Being selfless feels good. And Mapleshade is right there with Reedshine when her kits are born. 3 beautiful little critters, Shy Kit, Willow Kit, and instead of naming the 3rd Apple Kit like in canon, Reedshine names the last Shade Kit after Mapleshade. The 2 raise all 4 kits together happily. Patch Kit loves his new siblings. Reedshine even helps Mapleshade manage some of her deeply rooted anger and hatred certain ThunderClan and RiverClan cats caused her. She becomes much more calm and well-rounded with Reedshine's help. Anyways, there's a bit of a kerfuffle at the 2's first gathering with ShadowClan. Though all 4 kits are apprentices, only Patchpaw is there. Mapleshade and Reedshine won't let Appledusk anywhere near him. Anyways, Oakstar and Darkstar call out the 2 she-cats. Houndstar has none of it, saying he knew what had happened and his clan were true warriors and know the code. The young leader basically shames them and will not hear any of their whining. The gathering ends shortly after and he proudly leads his clan home, head and tail high. Reedshine and Mapleshade are very pleased and grateful to their leader. They lead Patchpaw home alongside them. Appledusk, by the way, was never fully trusted in his clan again. He was treated with suspicion and distrust. He was never trusted with important duties, he never got to lead patrols, he was rather secluded with no notable friends to support him, and no she-cat would have him. He got what he deserved. Misery. Anyways, Mapleshade and Reedshine lived a very happy life in ShadowClan. Accepted, happy with their family. The kits eventually became Shyheart, Willownose, Shadefrost, and Patchshine. They all lived happily ever after in ShadowClan. Almost. This AU brings up a few other questions, namely the entire future of the series via evil Mapleshade, and of course Crooked Star and Oakheart. Well, I don't want to stray too far from canon, so I figured this part out too. Willownose, even from a young age, her heart lay by the river. She loved swimming and the scent of fish and water plants. Eventually it was revealed that RiverClan is where she came from. With Appledusk dead by now and a new leader leading the clan, Mapleshade and Reedshine let her go join RiverClan. She was welcome there. She eventually found a mate and gave birth to kits, including Shellheart. Now, without Mapleshade, that leaves a place open for a villain. This got me thinking, who would have motive for such hatred towards Appledusk's descendants? And that's when I figured it out. Whose brother was killed by Appledusk? Whose young child clanmate was killed because of Appledusk? Whose brother's name was besmirched because of Appledusk? Ripplewish, of course. I realized just how easily she could have gone bad. And she did in my AU. So this is how it played out in my mind. She was furious, destroyed about her brother, whom she had been very close with, and this made her snap. She followed Mapleshade out of camp with the plan to kill her if she didn't leave fast enough, but instead she witnessed the young mother and her kids fall into the river. She watches furious glee on her face as the kids drown. She believes them all to have been dead. But when she sees Appledusk, her rage heightens and she realizes she shouldn't be going for Mapleshade, but Appledusk. She trails the RiverClan cats to the camp and listens in, hearing that Mapleshade was to be banished and that Reedshine was pregnant, but she flees after this, afraid of being caught. She doesn't know where Reedshine or Mapleshade go till much later. But she meanwhile plots and plans to kill Appledusk. She stalks him. The whole time, as Mapleshade did with her kits, Ripplewish is egged on by the terrified cries of her brother. And eventually she finds him alone, and kills him after declaring that finally her brother will be avenged. But as Mapleshade was, she is gravely injured by Perchpaw. She drags herself off to die, and of course she goes to the Dark Forest, feeling gleefully victorious. But from there she realizes one of Appledusk's kits, Willownose, is in RiverClan again, and she vows his family will never find peace. Instead of Mapleshade, she is the one who stalks and torments Crooked Star. Everything basically plays out the same, obviously, because it was never really Dark Forest cats to begin with. Ripplewish becomes the new big bad she-cat of the Dark Forest. Thus, canon is still fairly closely followed. Yeah, I absolutely love this AU idea. I would really love to develop it more and release some content based around it. Anywho, thanks for listening. This has been Ripplewish, saying farewell for now, clanmates. and may StarClan light your paths.